Hello, everybody. Yeah, Brett and Sideshow here, joined with a very, very exclusive interview of Ryan Cussard, the game designer behind the new agent, Gecko, that's due to be released pretty soon. And yeah, thank you very much for joining us, Ryan. You know, I know you've just flown in recently straight into Brazil, so yeah, thank you for your time.
Yeah, no, I'm stoked to be here. It's like I've always wanted to do some of the stuff with you guys, so it's cool to be on here.
Well, let's talk about the abilities. The first one I think that we want to talk about is Mosh Pit, right?
Yeah,
This ability, you know, heavy clearance. It looks really quite powerful as well in the right hands as well.
So there's going to be a lot of similarities to KO's Fragment, but it's going to be more of an approachable, like it's going to be a very nice zone that it covers. It gives you a lot of time to kind of run out of it and a lot of time to react, but it is going to kind of give you a pretty big zone, and so
it does crazy damage too, right?
It does, yeah. So it's very similar to like Breach's Fusion Blast. So if you don't get out of it, you know it's deadly in the center.
So that is one of the abilities. That is the only ability that you can't go and pick back up again as well.
Well, Mosh is still trying to figure it out. Like the other ones, you know, they're a little more grown. He's just a little baby trying to figure it out.
Right. Okay, I see.
Mosh, you know, it's for all, you know, listen, Mosh, we love Mosh, but not the signature ability of Gecko. In fact, that's a different ability, right? That's Dizzy.
Right. Yeah, that's right. So the signature that we have, kind of the bread and butter, the initiator tool, is going to be Dizzy. So Dizzy is what you're using kind of round to round. It's more of like a versatile tool to be able to clear like mid, some short, and long range angles to compete with some of our other initiators. But it definitely has like a lot of different ways to kind of counterplay, and different ways to kind of change how you take spaces compared to some of our other initiators.
And it is kind of similar to some other abilities in that it blinds your opponent, but it works in quite a different way, right?
Right, yeah. We wanted to try something that was a little less, like it kind of obfuscates your screen a little bit less, gives you a little easier of a time to kind of maneuver around.
Right.
But it also has a lot of like downsides and a lot of trade-offs to, like it can kind of get shot and mitigate a lot of the area there. But the idea there was kind of creating like a breaking tool that's a little more approachable for like, you know, all players.
Right. But talk to me a bit more about, so you're an opponent, there's a Dizzy coming towards you, you shoot the Dizzy, it's now on the floor, and the gameplay loop is kind of that the Gecko can go and retrieve that for another Dizzy in like 10 seconds time.
Right.
Do you see a lot of the gameplay loop being around like fighting for those abilities, almost like people fight around ult orbs now?
Yeah, so it's in a similar way that you can kind of like play around a lot of Killjoy's utility, where you hear the turret, then this strategy comes in. It's like, okay, so now we hear the turret. What do we do next? Same thing with Dizzy. Once the reclaim or once the globule is created, there's a couple seconds there where you really have to fight for it. It becomes like a mini objective, similar to some of the ultimate orbs that you see.
Yeah.
And so we figured kind of creating a power space and kind of creeping your way forward and trying this new style of, or this new pacing of initiator play was going to be interesting. So we'll just have to find out if it is.
Okay, so my favorite ability that we playtested so far has to be the wingman, right? Because me and Josh are playing it.
Running.
He is running. He is sprinting. But that is such a unique ability as well in terms of the way it plays out. Very similar to some others in terms of Boombot and everything else. But yeah, I'll let you explain it and take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. So wingman is kind of your friend that helps you clear these spaces. There's going to be like the close to mid-range, runs forward, parkours all over the place. As soon as it sees an enemy, it'll jump up and then kind of like clap its hands together and do this like huge concussive bark. So there's like a cone of area that it affects, and anyone in that cone is concussed.
Yeah, nice. But that's not the only thing that's special about Wingman, right? Because there is a very unique feature. You guys are really pushing the envelope in terms of how the game is developed with the mechanics, and that's Wingman, who's got like this ult fire, right?
Right, yeah. So one of the things we wanted to try, you know, and the whole theme of like power and numbers kind of thing, we wanted to allow Wingman to also kind of steal the spike from you and also run with it and plant the spike itself. You know? So as it's planting the spike, you can be covering it. And on the flip side, on defense, if you're kind of in these 1v1s, these 1v2s, you can send Wingman to defuse the spike as well, and you can cover Wingman as opposed to, you know, someone having to cover you.
It's a really unique interaction, but also if Wingman goes down on his intrepid venture towards the spike, he just abandons it in enemy territory, right?
Yeah,
so you do have to be a bit careful in terms of how it's used.
Absolutely,
The final ability, the ultimate that we want to talk about, which is the, you know, the big one, honestly, the big one. Quite scary to see it running at you in the server as well.
That's Thrash, So Thrash is Gecko's ultimate. it, you equip Thrash, you'll see a cool little animation of it swimming around. Once you cast it, you possess Thrash. Thrash swims around and clears space pretty rapidly, as you guys are sure have seen. Once you explode, or once you lunge and explode onto an enemy, there's a big radius that is detained. So any player caught is detained.
Yeah, it looks really fun to play. And I'm just looking forward to seeing some of the content creators play it here in Sao Paulo, seeing people get their hands on it as well. You must be looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. I think there's only like so much we can do ourselves, and kind of like, you know, when we're playing, there's only so much we can see.
Yeah.
And so as soon as it hits live and as soon as like the content creators really get their hands on it, we're going to see some pretty cool videos, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's going to do it for the interview as well. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Ryan.
awesome. Yeah,
Appreciate it, man. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for the time. Hope you enjoy Sao Paulo. Hope you enjoy the games as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right. We'll send it back.